I'm going to read the first Psalm, Psalm 1, if you have a Bible and you want to follow me. And David says, "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish." This psalm is the beginning of 150 psalms. And it begins with the word blessed. It begins with a benediction. It begins with a beatitude. Just like our Lord began his Sermon on the Mount with, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall see God." Or, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." He goes down all those blesseds. And here we have David beginning these psalms with the word blessed. But he says, "Blessed is the man," or "Blessed is the woman." And just for a couple of minutes tonight, I want to talk about the God-blessed man, or the God-blessed woman. And what is the characteristics of a God-blessed man? And you hear people saying, "Oh, God's blessing me, and God's doing this, and God's doing that." But what are the real characteristics of the God-blessed man or woman? And there are three little characteristics. First of all, we are told where he doesn't walk. "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly." There are places that he does not walk. And brother and sister, if you want to retain the blessing of the Lord in your life, there are places where you must not walk. So be careful where you walk. And the word walk denotes fellowship. The word walk denotes lifestyle. And be careful with your lifestyle. "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly." He's not with the ungodly. He's not listening to their language. He's not partaking of their language. And so the child of God has to be separate. So the God-blessed man is the separate man. He walks not in the counsel of the ungodly. Hug that first thought to your heart. And then it says, "Nor standeth in the way of sinners." The blessed man, where does he stand? He stands among God's people. He doesn't stand in the way of sinners. And if you're mixing with sinners, if you're mixing with the unsaved, you're going to feel the pull. You're going to feel that pull. And it's going to draw you back into the world. I remember a young sister who still comes to our church. She's married now, and she's got her family, and her family are well grown up. But when you're in a church 52 years, you have so many experiences. And I remember she was going with an unsaved fellow, and this unsaved fellow was pulling her down, getting, and she was missing prayer meetings, she was missing the Lord's table, and she felt condemned to come out to the Lord's table. And she says, "I'm trying to win him to the Lord." And I said, "Here's a chair, stand up on it." And she says, "You're joking, Bishop." I said, "Stand up on that chair." And I says, "Pull me up to where you are." And I just pulled her down off the chair. And I says, "That is an illustration." I says, "Nor standeth in the way of sinners." You can't mix with the ungodly unless you are led by the Lord to do that. The Lord said, "Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. And if the Lord puts you in a position that you're with the ungodly and you've got to work with them, then he gives you the grace and he gives you the strength to do that. But purposely to go into the world and the things of the world. You're not going to reap the blessing of the Lord. You're not going to have his blessing at all in your life. So here's the first two things of the blessed man. We're told where he doesn't walk and where he doesn't stand. And the third thing is where he doesn't sit. So here you have walking, standing, and sitting. Where he doesn't sit. So for any young preacher here tonight, here's three little outlines that you could work on tonight. Where he doesn't sit. And where does he not sit? In the seat of the scornful. The seat of the scornful. And sitting in the seat of the scornful. It reminds me, remember the Lord went into that house in Capernaum. And remember, they took the roof off and they let the man with the palsy down through the roof. But the front seats in that house, who was sitting there? The Pharisees and the Sadducees, the chief priests. They were sitting there and they were criticizing him and they were scorning him. And you know, when he healed that man, you know the only criticism they could give him was that he had healed on the Sabbath. They were sitting in the seat of the scornful. Beware of criticism. Beware of having a critical spirit. And it's like, I remember Henry Jowett giving an illustration where he lived. There was a family that kept a dog, you know, and no matter who passed by the gate, the old dog barked at him. Even if it was a child, even if it was a baby, the old dog and just barked and barked. And you know, there's people like that. They've got a critical spirit, they've got a critical attitude. And so here David says he doesn't sit in the seat of the scornful. And here, the word scornful, what's the opposite of the word scornful? Reverence. Reverence. In other words, he's a reverent man, he's a reverent woman, because God's blessing is upon him. So if you want to retain the blessing of the Lord in your life, find out where you don't walk, find out where you don't stand, and find out where you don't sit. And this word blessed, by the way, it means, the root word means happy. Happy. But I'm not very positive about this word happy. Because if you're happy, the beginning of the word happy is H-A-P. Hap. And it means chance. So you're only happy because of certain circumstances. You're only happy because of certain situations. Like, say tomorrow, you're going to have a barbecue, say down in Newcastle, and you prepare the car tonight, you get all the stuff in the car, and you're ready to take off in the morning, and what happens? Thunder and lightning and rain. Your happiness is gone. Happy. But this word, blessed here, in the Hebrew, it is Asherah, and in the Greek is Makarios, and it simply means, oh, the bliss. Oh, the bliss of. The man in the presence of God, the woman in the presence of God. So, blessed, oh, the bliss of the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. And then here's the secret of his blessedness, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. And in his law doth he meditate day and night. And here's the result of it. And he shall be like a tree planted. There's a lot of Christians, and they're not planted. And the secret of the God-blessed man and woman is that they're planted. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The Lord bless these thoughts to your heart. Did you time me, Sean? 9 minutes. God bless you.